Great morning and welcome to the shift. We are here to walk through the shift, which is the mindset transformation workbook. You should already have your copy. If you don't, it is not too late to get that. You're welcome to pause this video and to click the link and go ahead and order that, download it so you can follow along with us. You can also watch this video and get your e-workbook or order your workbook after you've watched this video. But you're going to want to get the workbook. You're going to want to walk through this entire process with us. And if you did not know, my name is Coach V. I am Vivian Bell. I'm a board certified biblical counselor, master mental health coach, and a destiny strategist who is also shifting, and am grateful that you joined me on this journey. So what we're going to do here each week is we will have our refresher on Mondays, and then on Tuesday mornings, you will meet here in this platform to join me on this coaching, in this coaching session, this empowerment session. So we're starting right off with the work. That's just what I believe in doing is that we just jump right in and do the work. We've waited long enough to shift. We've waited long enough to step into our divine purpose. And so we're not here to play. The shift is not just something that we show up for or say, hey, this is just one more masterclass. I have been guilty of in the past, being a business owner, of chasing masterclasses. And what I mean by that is you always have this fear of you not being enough or not missing something, or you'll get this email and say, this is why your offer isn't selling, and this is why this, and this is why that, and you think, oh, this is the answer. No, we are going to find the answers, and all of our answers are going to be in us doing this, the work, the unpacking, as I call it in this week. So know that in this space, it is not meant to make you feel overwhelmed or to bring fear to you or to make you feel like, hey, if I can't walk through this process in 4 weeks, that there's something wrong with me. Not at all. If this process takes you longer than 4 weeks, then let the process take what it needs to. I am the person who will purchase a book. I can feel led that, hey, you need this book or you need what's happening here, what this person is teaching. I can walk through it, and then I will come back and walk through it a second time, walking through it slowly, digesting even more the notes I've taken, the things I've learned, the things that I feel that God is drawing on me to learn more of and to change. So don't feel like this is a let's make this a checklist kind of thing. I feel like it's important that I tell you that this place is safe, but also that it's a place that is going to draw on you, make you just pull you into the growth that you've showed up to do, the shifting that you showed up to do. But it is not a place for condemnation. It is not a place to destroy you. This handbook wasn't created for that. This handbook, honestly, came through my walk of overcoming fears, overcoming the letting go of the old me, the me that God was calling me away from. Not because that version of Vivian wasn't good and wasn't great, but because there is still always more. We should always be willing to grow, learn, and grow and learn. So our 3-word theme, if you pay attention to any of our emails, at the bottoms it says invest, heal, grow, because you are going to invest your finances, your time, your talents, you're going to lay down some things. You're going to do the investment of digging, and then you're going to heal because you walk through that process, and then you're going to grow into a new version of who you are. So that is what we are absolutely here to do. As you notice, if you've already gotten your workbook, we've broken down the process, and it is know your mind, change your mind, strategize, and then live the abundant life you were created to live. But on one of the very first pages, it says, you are responsible for your life. And that can seem, whoa, that's heavy, but we are responsible for the life that we live. We may not have been responsible for the things that cause us to get to the place where we are that brings us to the shift, but we're absolutely responsible once we are aware of why a thing takes place or why we do a certain thing, to taking it further to the next step of, okay, does this really serve me? And what are the next steps to get me to the place of having habits or living a life habitually of abundance, the life that I was created to live. So listen, I'm gonna share this story with you all. I heard it a pastor preach once, and he shared about how there's this newlywed couple. They got married, and the wife decided she's gonna make this dinner, and so she said, "Hey, I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna make a ham. My mom has made the best ham in all the world. I have a recipe. I've watched her for years. I'm gonna make this ham." So the husband, the new husband, who is so intrigued by this recipe that's being passed on from generation to generation, he decided to watch his wife make this ham. And so as she's making the ham, he watches her take the whole butt end of the ham and cut it off. And so when he asked his wife, he said, "Hey, why did you cut the ham off? Like, why didn't you include that in why aren't you cooking that part?" She said to him, "Listen, my mom made the best ham in all the world, and my mom cut the butt end of her ham off. So that's what we're doing." And so he said, "Okay, I get that, but can you tell me why that is?" And she said, "My mom just did it that way, and it works, and the ham is good, and everyone loves my mama's ham." And she went on and on and on about those things. He said, "Well, do you mind if we call your mom to find out why she cuts off the end of the ham?" So of course he convinces his new wife to call her mother and say, "Hey mom, listen, he's asking why we cut the end of the ham off." To his surprise, his mother-in-law responded the same way his wife did. "Listen, my mama made the best ham in all the world, and my mama cut the butt end of the ham off of her ham, and that's just the way we do it." He says, "Do you mind calling grandma and asking grandma why she cut the butt end of the ham off before she cooked?" And so they call grandma, everyone's on the phone, and he says, "Hey grandma, we're here making this ham, and I just gotta know, what is it about you cutting off the butt end of this ham that makes it so delicious?" She said, "Honey, that's simple. My pan was too small." So she was cutting the end of the ham off because her pan was too small. Yet her daughter and her granddaughter were blessed to be privileged to have a whole set of pans. They could choose any size pan they wanted, and it's most likely that the pans they chose were big enough to hold the ham that they were cooking. They just cut the butt end off because that's what they saw being done. So many things that are within us, so many things that have become who we are, our personalities. I did my little air quotes, hope y'all saw those. Are things that just pass along from generation to generation that we never question or ask to find out, why do I do these things? It's not, and it's not important. It is not enough to just know that we do something, but we've got to know the why and why we're doing it. Why, what caused me to get to this place? And so that's what the unpacking is about today. And that is exactly what we're going to do. Again, they both absolutely was able to cook the full ham, but they didn't make room to do that, though the room was available. So there's room inside of you available to grow, to mature, to step into your divine purpose. But we've got to discover that, and sometimes we don't do that until we unpack. Kind of like an actual journey. You can take a cruise, you can go on a trip. You pack a suitcase, you take that cruise. But if you don't come back and unpack from the cruise, then you won't be able to properly, one, pack or clean your clothes if you didn't wash them before you came back from your trip. But you're also not going to be able to pack the things you need for the next journey, which might be a hike. And you'll take different things for this hike than you would take on a cruise, because a hike requires certain footwear and equipment and all of those things. And I can't tell you what all the equipment is because your girl does no hiking. I've been invited several times to go hiking, and I'm like, that is not me. I'm not built for that. But anyway, actually, it's just a choice I've made. I had enough hiking and field work when I was in the military and training, and so I'm good with that. But I know why I don't like it. I'm just not. I don't like being outside. I don't like sand in my toes, even though I love the beach. Don't worry, I haven't quite figured that one out yet either. But we're gonna unpack some things today. So if you'll meet me in the section that's entitled unpacking. Now I'm gonna cover these questions kind of briefly and go over them. This video, this coaching is not meant to be just the only time that you process the things that are in this book. But we're going to walk through them so that you can understand why they're here, so that we can move forward and step into our destiny to align ourselves with the shift that's taking place in this season of our lives. So, our first question is, what is your most prevalent thoughts that you have daily about yourself? Now, that thought can be good, it can be negative, it can be a combination of the two, but here we're going to want to be honest. That's the key thing in this journey and any growth is honesty. We've got to be honest with ourselves, even if the honest thing that we state is that I don't know, I'm not sure what got me here, I'm not sure how I got here, but I'm willing to find that out. So we're going to examine our most prevalent thoughts. Earlier, I mentioned something about fears that I had. And so this is what led to this book. Honestly, I was given an opportunity, and I had been given previous opportunities to collaborate, and I had been given other opportunities in my business. And I realized that I had missed many opportunities, all because I had a fear. And that fear, I thought initially was a failing, but as I continued to unpack it, the fear was actually succeeding. I had a fear that I would not be able to either succeed or to sustain what I had succeeded in or what I gained in that success. And you may have heard people talk about that, express that, and you may have even experienced it yourself. Maybe it's okay that I stay the same. Maybe if I keep allowing myself to stay in friendships, relationships, situations that I know no longer serve me, that maybe it'll just be okay. Maybe one day, eventually, this will work for me. But when you are remaining in a place, whether it is mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or physically, that you know God is calling you out of, you will never actually be okay in that place, because the you on the inside of you that knows you're supposed to be in another place, it's going to nag you and nag you and nag you. So you can either live with that nagging or you can shift. So then once we've discovered what our most prevalent thought is, and you may have several. You may say, hey, I have this thought that I'm not enough, or I may have this thought that I'm just not liked because of this or because of that. Whatever that thought is, and if you're thinking, I don't really know what that thought is yet, I have lots of thoughts, then guess what you do? You don't write anything down at this moment. You go to God and you sit and you pray, or take some time and consider as you walk through this day or the next couple of days. Note your thoughts, things that pop back into your head, that one thought that keeps coming back to you, or that one thought when you get ready to do something different and new that pops up. That's the thought you're going to want to write here. Where did this thought come from? So many of my thoughts of fear, of failure, of not being good enough came from my childhood. It came from the family dynamic that I was raised in, and that thing that came about of me trying to always prove that I was enough, to prove that, hey, me being different than everyone else was like, that was okay. Like I was always trying to fit in because I didn't fit into my family. I was different. I was that person who, hey, I'm gonna genuinely love you, but also I'm gonna genuinely tell you the truth. I'm not gonna go along to get along. I was just different in so many ways, the way I thought, the way I spoke. I remember getting beat up by cousins because they felt like I thought I was better than them because I spoke properly, which was not something I decided, hey, I'm gonna speak this way. It was just an environment that I had been blessed to be placed in. The first 4 years of my life, I lived with my grandparents. And so I was able to be around adults, older adults that were wiser. And so I was able to speak in a way that they spoke. And because I was able to take in those things and I was able to have that alone time with them, then I also was placed in an environment where I was with older students, and so I advanced earlier and skipped a couple grades in elementary school. So that wasn't something I said, hey, I want to do this, but it was also nothing to be ashamed of. And so I had to discover where that came, where the shame came from when I succeeded, where the shame came from when God gave me an idea such as the shift, and I rolled it out with God in less than a day, and was able to participate and take opportunity to be a part of that event. Like there were things that God has given me and gifted me with that brought shame, that never should have had shame attached to it. And so that's why we're breaking free from all of those things today. But we've got to discover where it came from. I had to re-examine the way that I was raised. I had to look at it and say, these things affected me negatively. These things caused me to operate in a place of fear of my own abilities. Until I was able to do that and acknowledge it, not placing blame and now I'm angry with my family or things of that sort. No, it's about finding out where the root is. We want to be able to uproot all of the negative things. We want to uproot all of the things that are causing us to not be able to shift in seasons when we are called to shift in those places. The next question is, does this thought bring you joy or trepidation? Initially, I'm recognizing what was the cause of my fears brought trepidation. It brought back some emotions and some feelings. And I want to advise you that if that is something you're experiencing, to first be kind to yourself, to second, know that it's okay to not be okay. And then third, know that it's okay to get help. Whether you do that through coaching, counseling, mentorship, whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be through Minding What Matters. We would love to walk alongside you, but find the help and the assistance that you need to help you truly be able to not just walk through this, but to come out of it stronger and the version of you that you signed up to become in this season of your life. So don't be afraid to get help. Whether this book is enough or whether you need this book and this process and something additional, please invest in you because you are absolutely worth it. And again, I want to commend you for being here in this space with us now. Our next question is, how do you physically feel at this moment as you unpack your memories and examine your belief about yourself? Because what if the things that you've always believed about yourself aren't true and they never were? They were perhaps someone else's perspective of who you were, or maybe someone wanted to impute their thoughts on you or to speak things over you that were not at all true, but they didn't want you to ever discover who you were. I know that's like a lot to process and take in, but examine what you actually believe about yourself and why you believe it. If we don't take the time to truly delve into this, and it may not be a issue with your childhood as mine was, it may be something else, but find out what that thing is, because until you're able to find it, accept it, be honest about it, and uproot it, you will not experience the level of freedom that you deserve to have. Now we're going to write down our personal goals for this shift journey. What is it that you are wanting to take away from this? What do you expect the unpacking to do? How do you expect for this shift, the mindset transformation, to serve you? And then the real question, what are you willing to change in order to have this shift in your life? Yeah, I know it's deep, but I promise you, if you will do the work, you're going to absolutely be glad you did. I promise you, the version of you that you know has existed, she's cheering you on the other side. So flip over to the last page, and here, once you walk through this, that you may not do this today, you may have already gone ahead and walked through this portion of the book already, of this workbook already, and done that work. But whether you've done it yet or going to do it, this last step, even if you don't do this step until we get ready to walk into next week's coaching, that's fine, because this is a step that you're going to want to be serious about, but also be able to be honest about, be able to have acknowledged and accepted the things that we've just covered in the previous questions. And when you are writing this letter to your greatest fear, because that's your assignment, there are going to be some things you need to do. One is to acknowledge that the fear exists, to acknowledge that the issue, the situation exists. Sometimes we spend time fearful of a situation, but you need to acknowledge that it exists. You may even acknowledge your part in holding on to it, like knowing that you needed to do the work, but decided that it was more comfortable and easy to stay stuck. That's okay. Apologize to yourself for that. And then forgive yourself and embrace the grace that is sufficient for you right now in this season and in every season of your life. But whatever you do in your acknowledgement, acknowledge that you, in your present season, the you that is shifting in this very moment, that you that might even be afraid to break up with your fears, is good, that you are enough, that you are blessed, And that also you have the strength to write this breakup letter, because that's exactly what this is. Oh, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to write a breakup letter. But the thing about this breakup letter is that there's not going to be a back and forth. The old version of you does not get to write you back and debate about this forward movement. It is done. It is a declaration of what is happening, because we're absolutely moving forward into being creatures of habit, but not habit of past things that kept us stuck, but of the habits that we're going to create in this process that's going to propel us into our divine future. Thank you guys for joining me here. Again, you've been with me, Coach V, and I look forward to being with you guys for the next 3 weeks. God bless you, and let's get to shifting.